Bob, welcome back to Face. Nice to see you. I think I have to unmute you. No, you're unmuted.
Hey
So,
Dale,
how
can you hear me?
I got you, buddy. How are you,
Okay,
Bob?
good. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. Nice to be able to talk to you. Things came alive in September. Is it the physical market? Um, have people come back in the fall? And with all the war news, how's business?
Yeah, I think if you could sum it up, um, the retail public is basically very quiet. It's been very quiet really since you started to see that run into past 2500, 2550. But what you have seen is the higher net worth uh, buyer or bigger buyers, basically the size
Hmm.
of the transaction has been more dominant, not the number of transactions. So, which is kind of strange because typically you don't see big money buying into a run up. You typically see the retail public buying into the run up. Of course, you're now seeing articles everywhere with Costco, and starting to get into platinum as well, and no one really has any numbers per se on actually how much Costco actually sells because I think everyone's relying on this old Wells Fargo analyst guess of like 200 million a month, but I don't. Everyone I've talked to in the industry is like, well, I don't think PAMP can make $200 million worth of 1 ounce gold bars every month. It's so
Okay.
yeah,
So
there's a
they're
lot.
not able to fabricate, uh, that kind of that kind of demand.
Yeah, there's a lot of speculation, I guess you could say, and then of course the gold dealer promoter type attitude is okay. Let's use it to try to sell more metal to show that there's more interest out there. But in reality, what's actually happening in the industry is the pie is getting smaller. So you're seeing more aggressive marketing amongst the dealers, the big online guys, for example. For example, Zero Hedge now teamed up with, I guess, or with JM Bullion. So you're seeing this, you know, almost as if in front of the election, this all-in mentality of marketing to try and get more buyers out there. But I think, you look at Singapore, for example, I'm hearing Singapore is dead in terms of price action. The it, there's
Chinese are still out of the market.
yeah, and so there, it's not to say that people ask, well, what's driving the market, especially in September? And if you look at commitment of traders reports, it's really been the futures and options market more so than anything. The money flows that have come in. I mean, you're seeing each week the commitment of traders report, which is basically the measure of
Yeah.
open interest in futures. You're seeing $1 billion notional value of swings for example, in silver, either in or out from week to week, and that's just a massive pool of money. I think it's more traders that are getting into the market, trying to take advantage of these push, these quick
I mean,
moves.
big ranges. I mean, like the move just in 2 days, this move right here, used to take months, and now it's
Right.
taking days for it to rally from 29 to 31, $2 in 2 days. We haven't seen that in a while. So do you like this $30 level? It's pulling back to this formations breakout. And what levels are you paying attention to um, if we take it out? People asking you, Bob, should I wait? Do you think there'll be a better price level, or buy now and hope you're early and buy more if it keeps going down?
Yeah, I mean, when you're talking physical, you're really talking long term. So the
Yeah.
idea is it's really difficult to catch the ultimate bottom. Unlike if you're trading the market, you have tools to maybe use buy stops, sell stops, things like that. But for physical metal, the problem you try to run into is like what, for example, in September, when you see these big buyers come into the market, they tend to go after one single product. So you'll see, like for example, gold eagles, backdated gold eagles, which were the premiums were really, really low compared to the brand new 2024s. Well, someone came into the market, bought a lot of gold eagles, and all of a sudden the you just had a 1 or 2% jump in the premium because of
One
supply
buyer.
available. Yeah, available supply. So what's odd is we're seeing um, certain products where deal or wholesalers don't have enough of, and then the other products that they have too much of. So
Okay.
it makes it more difficult for the physical guy that maybe is looking for a specific product. Now, with that said, you look at the cost of production with silver miners, which has been a good floor for the market. I mean, that's been rising steadily up. I think it's probably around 27, 28 at this point. And so you could get a pullback, but what's interesting, not to try and dictate the terms of the market, but you have the election coming up. There's too many events right now, like you were mentioning with the Middle East and so forth, uh, uh, that makes this really difficult unless you're a very sensitive trader to maybe catch some of these spikes. Like for example, what was it 2 days ago? We had a throw over to I think it went up to $33 an ounce or close to that,
Right
and then
here.
it just got
Yeah,
crushed. Almost like they squeezed the shorts just right out of the market, and now
they
they're
did.
doing the exact same thing to the longs on the downside.
Yeah, we'll see about the long side. You know what's interesting, Bob, and you made a great call. I think it was here when you started to move people more into silver than gold, and we had this correction in the gold silver ratio. And I thought it might top, but you have to keep an open mind. And this action now to me is looking look more corrective than it being a peak. Almost like we had this big move and we've corrected the big move, and there's another wave to the upside to take out 90. Um, do you have a view on the gold silver ratio?
Yeah, for some of the research that I've been reading is that yeah, if the market is trying to broaden out, for example, if the election comes in and yeah, say Trump wins, for example, and maybe the gold market is pricing in a Trump win, which if you look at 2016 was actually negative for the metals initially after he won. You could see, well, maybe the issue here is that if the market's broadening, maybe gets sold and the white metals actually start to actually uh,
Outperform.
develop some strength. Yeah, start to develop some strength, and the idea behind it is the economy actually doesn't go into a recession. Maybe initially into 2025, it actually maybe we continue to grow. And of course, the whole idea is liquidity flows, and this hurricane is going to potentially inspire more stimulus. That's the old adage.
All right.
Lumber prices go up, everything goes, because they have to rebuild and so forth. You just don't. That's the hard part about the markets. Is it's right now it's being driven by events and liquidity flows more so than traditional uh, fundamental uh, uh,
Yeah.
action, I guess you could say.
Yeah. So, I'm getting questions about uh, platinum and palladium, and why do you think they've been underperforming gold and silver? They're also white metals. The white stuff goes first, that saying. But definitely it's been bringing up the rear. Platinum had a nice run though, but look at how
Yeah,
it's given it up. It's given it up, man. Yeah, look
there's
at
only one metal that's more frustrating than silver, and that's platinum.
isn't
I think
palladium
it's yeah,
and
Palladium.
palladium.
Yeah, Palladium at least had a big run in late 2000 teens into the 2020s, but Platinum, my goodness, it has just been a widowmaker really since the mid 2000s after it's had its big run. Um, but the idea with Platinum really is hydrogen fuel cells, and then
Industrial.
also this
Okay.
resurgence into the U.S. Department of Energy trying to push hybrid vehicles now instead of just all-out electric vehicles, um, and that actually may help the combustion engine. It's not going the way of the dinosaur, I guess you could say. They're still going to make it. So the idea is maybe uh,
Yeah.
you start to get maybe a little bit more industrial demand, but that's the odd thing is gold being as high as it is, that may actually inspire jewelry into platinum more so than gold uh, uh, going forward. But it's interesting because the platinum to gold ratio, I think, is historically, I think it's low as it's ever been. Uh, or
Yeah, it
have
is. Yeah. Palladium looks better technically than platinum does right now. Just
yeah,
what I
platinum.
see.
Yeah, platinum is more of a you could the traditional last 10 years or so, platinum has been used in catalytic converters in the diesel market, whereas palladium has been more used in the gasoline market for automobiles. Um, but I think with platinum, with hydrogen fuel cells, platinum is actually the metal of choice when it comes to that the energy conversion process. Um, but
I've been
it's
reading. Go ahead. I'm
no, no,
sorry.
go ahead. Sorry. Yeah,
Well,
go ahead.
I was a friend of mine sent me an article about how silver is going to be used in new battery construction that works better than lithium. Do you know
Correct.
anything about that story?
Yeah, that's something that came out, and it got vastly overhyped, I think, in amongst a lot of the promoters and dealers out there, saying that it's gonna, take over the entire silver market next year. It's actually something that is about a couple years out, in terms of possible production of battery of usage in that solid state type of format. But it definitely can have a huge impact because it seems like technology wise, it actually outperforms the traditional lithium battery and lasts longer with a faster charge. So from that standpoint, I think it's just another feather in silver's cap in industrial usage. It may start to pick up industrial demand potentially as maybe photovoltaic solar cell technology and so forth starts to maybe peak out with its industrial demand. So it's just another potential that could continue this supply deficit that we've been seeing and reported on by, for example, Metals Focus,
Forever.
which is yeah.
I mean, we've been hearing about this deficit forever. So, tell us about what separates you, Bob, from other dealers. In the intro, because you and I communicate, you kind of tell me about some of the shenanigans physical dealers are, what they're doing. What sets you apart, buddy?
Yeah, I mean, the big thing, especially the last few years, has been night and day is the premiums that we charge versus what dealers, traditional online and the big box sort of dealers charge. They built a model based on volume, and so maybe a lot of their transactions, their average size transactions, maybe $2,000 or $3,000, but their premiums maybe double, for example, than what we charge. So it tends to take out a lot of the purchasing power from the consumer. But what you've started to see earlier this year, late last year, is and this is where I have a lot of concern over the industry itself and the direction of the industry. It made a tremendous amount of profit from 2020 to 23. Now you're seeing the bids on these products. These big online dealers bidding $2 under spot for 100-ounce bars, silver 100-ounce bars, silver 1-ounce rounds, $3 under spot, $1.50 under spot. So what's happening is the public is realizing that there actually are true spread costs involved with not only buying the metals
But
and
selling.
potentially, yes, when you're selling back that there. And so the market is really seeing a stagnation here where I think people have realized how much you know they overpaid over the years, the last few years, especially the people that had just got into the market. So they're much more savvy, I think, this time That's why this Costco thing, I think, is, it's eating away the big online retailers. I think volume and operational business activity more so than like guys like me or maybe local coin shops. Yeah, I try to be more of an advisor, or try. I'm not a salesman, so I try to help people understand the metals markets. People see this stuff on YouTube and they go, "My God, the banking system's going to collapse in 2 weeks. I got to put everything into the metals." And you got an 80-year-old woman that listens to this and they're like, I got to throw everything into the metals. And sometimes you got to step back and try to educate people and kind of unwind that anxiety a little bit, and walk them through, what's actually happening. I always joke
So you
around with
go
my,
through suitability with people.
yeah, yeah. You just try to understand the client. It's what I typically do as a registered investment advisor. You try to implement that same ideals, and so that
Yeah,
way
be a
it's,
fiduciary.
yeah, yeah. That's what I tried to try. I try to always, and so what's happening in the metals markets now with retail demand uh, uh, declining here is a lot of these retail dealers that have set up depositories, and the depositories have very, very low storage fees because the whole idea was to dangle the carrot to the individual saying, hey, we got really low storage fees, you can buy from us as well. So really their bread and butter is coming from the transactional side, not from just simply being a depository. Well, what's happening is as transactions are declining, it's creating extra risks now in other areas of the business, in other areas of the industry, and I think that's something going forward that I think you're going to see become more prevalent, if we continue to see a decline in retail activity.
Okay, Bob. You have any chart you want to show? If not, I'm showing your website now, and that you offer storage. You're in Idaho, so pretty not a high populated area. So that's also an advantage because you can store for people. Do people from outside Idaho ever come to visit and say hello to their metals?
Oh yeah, yeah. We invite that. If people want to audit their holdings, they want to make sure everything's fully segregated. Yeah, we invite that. And the one nice thing about Idaho is it's a very boring state when it comes to natural disasters.
Yeah.
Luckily we don't have that type of activity with hurricanes and earthquakes and that type of thing. But uh, I was gonna make a joke when I first came on because I was running a little late, that I don't know which is worse, a hurricane or a Microsoft update,
Oh, okay. Yeah,
because we
that
had the
takes a
yeah,
while.
yeah, we had the patch Tuesday last night, and I'm like, yeah, so just trying to get everything back in order again. So
Yeah. I tell you what, Bob, I'll tell the audience, I've purchased silver through Bob, and everything went smooth as silk. So that's my real life experience to share with you guys. And Bob, great to talk to you. And any last words, not in your life, but for this interview?
yeah, no, no, yeah, I think, the question is, is this now time for consolidation? We certainly, I looked at gold on the monthly charts, and you look at it crossed the upper upper Bollinger Band line on the monthly charts, uh, for September, and typically that's usually where you could see a pause or some type of consolidation. I mean, we've done that before on this run, and then it's successfully kind of consolidated and then continued the run higher. But this right here, I think you're getting pause, which could be just the question of who may be winning the election. Was it
Yeah.
Kamala initially through August and into September, and now maybe Trump is maybe the expected winner? That may be something where, it's the old adage where basically, Trump is pro gold. So if the gold guys, if the one that the gold guys, or investors guy gets into office, they don't feel as stressed. Whereas Democrats, I put this statistic out there that twice as much gold buying occurs in Democratic administrations than it does in Republican administrations. So, yeah, that's those are just caveats to look at and try to understand how that affects the markets.
Is there a correlation between people buying gold and silver based upon party and people buying guns?
Yeah, I would imagine you'd probably have the same idea as well, in terms of gold and guns tend to move kind of hand in hand, I think.
Yeah, yeah,
But yeah, it's the Democrats have been more avid gun control,
yeah,
and so it's just that nature of
yeah,
fear or buying,
yeah,
that type of thing. So, but yeah, it's
yeah,
I think walking into there's just between and then you always have China as well. The idea with Taiwan and
yeah.
what kind of thing could come out of nowhere there, but it's this is we're walking into some after the election type of thing, and of course we may not know who wins the election for a couple months. That's
Yeah,
it's
I
been
agree.
living in that type of environment for a while. But you
Yeah,
got to watch what the Treasury's going to do, liquidity flows. They're trying to manage or create monetary policy just from Treasury issuance activity, that type of thing. So a lot of stuff that just continues to it's not simply just looking at one thing anymore.
okay. Bob Coleman, you can follow Bob on X at Profits Plus ID. So look him up, go to his website, check him out. He's got, you know, at goldsilvervault.com. Check out his prices. And you know what? Bob's a guy that you could even talk to instead of just talking to secretaries. Okay, so you're talking to the owner of the company. And anyway, everyone should have a little of this stuff. Maybe a lot of the stuff, but at least some. And Bob, I want to thank you and appreciate your commentary today. And I'll be talking to you in the new world in about 3 months,
Okay,
or
sounds good.
the old world continuing. We'll see.
Yeah,
All right, buddy. Bob Coleman, everyone, and people are thanking you. And uh, have a great quarter, end of
so,
your quarter, buddy.
sounds good. Thank you.
All right. So that's a wrap. Um, everyone can join. And if you sign up, take the 5-day trial and go navigate around and hang out in the chat room and see what you're missing. You're welcome, Joe. Guys, see everyone. And remember, most of all, don't just count your bullion and your coins or your NVIDIA. Count your blessings. We'll see you tomorrow.
Hey traders, this is Blake Morrow with Forex Analytix. Thanks for stopping by our YouTube channel. Don't forget to like these videos, share them, and subscribe to our channel so you don't miss any of the content that we provide here for free. Thanks for stopping by. I'll see you in the next video.